Warning, this podcast contains spoilers.
Hello everybody. Did I jump the gun? Are we good? Can I say it? Okay. Hello everybody and welcome to the As Seen on TV podcast for Doctor Who Season 8, Episode 8, The Mummy on the Orient Express. I'm Cleo, and with me I have Erica and Dom as my co-host. Choo-choo! This is a train.
Yeah.
This is a train.
Mm-hmm.
Appropriate. All right.
Train.
How do we like this episode?
I loved it.
I was actually, for once, I was glad that the mummy was actually a mummy.
Yeah.
It wasn't some creepy switch up thing like, oh, it was actually this. It just looked like a mummy. No, this was actually a mummy.
Mm-hmm. Who happened to have been an ancient soldier.
Yeah, it was a decomposed body, been around for millions of years or whatever, maybe thousands, whatever. So it was actually a mummy. It was real.
It was a vampire mummy.
Right.
Vampire-ish.
Well, energy vampire is still a vampire.
Like, figuratively,
Yeah.
just...
No, energy, like Erica said, energy vampires are still vampires. Not all vampires suck blood.
This one sucked life force, which is what they got out of it anyway. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So the whole mummy die in 66 seconds. That's a pretty unique concept for a monster. Where do you think they drew this inspiration? Like, they probably from a couple different sources.
Yeah.
Maybe the ring, right? It's you watch the videotape and then you die.
7 days.
Yeah. So I mean, it's
Yeah.
whatever. It's the same
Different amount of time.
Yeah, it's similar concept. I don't. I can't really think of any other horror genres or anything that pops in the top of my head that you die within a certain amount of time. So the ring was the first thing that popped into my mind.
Yeah. And obviously it drew from the old mummy movies.
Yeah.
I really like this monster.
This monster was amazing.
Yeah.
It really was.
So, the doctor said that Clara had a sad smile. But to me, it just looked like a smile. Is the doctor just seeing things, or is he seeing past her smile? I don't know. I thought that was weird.
Who had the sad smile, the doctor or Clara?
Clara had this sad smile. The doctor said was like having two emotions at once. It's just confusing. Which the doctor can't even handle one emotion at once, so...
Yeah, it's like, those times when people are just like, smile and wave, they're smiling, but you can tell they're not genuinely smiling. That's kind of what she was doing. I was like, oh, this is nice. Yeah.
Yeah, she's just that good an actor that I didn't realize.
I think she had a lot on her mind, too. She had, the burden of knowing that this is possibly her last, quote-unquote, adventure with the Doctor.
Yeah, but do you think she believed that? Because they were toasting to their last hurrah.
Yeah, I genuinely think that she thought that this was going to be her last time ever even seeing the Doctor, because she alluded, oh, you can come by for dinner, which we know is an ongoing joke, but,
Do you do that?
Huh?
She was like, do you do that? People's house for dinner.
Right. So, I really think she felt deep down this was going to be the last time she ever saw him.
So Clara said that the Doctor is cursed to just find monsters wherever he goes. Though this time, didn't he sort of seek this one out, or was it genuinely just an accident that they happened to be on the same train as the monster?
No, he had been asked to come on the train many times over, so it wasn't like he didn't know what he was coming into.
I mean,
was it that train, or was it those?
It was,
because there were multiple, sort of experiment.
Yeah, it might have been multiple, one of those other trains that they brought up in the past.
Mm-hmm.
And this is just the one he finally answered.
There's no such thing as accident or coincident with the Doctor. Everything's purposeful. I've yet to see him accidentally do something.
Well, some of the Doctor's accidents are the TARDIS's on purposes. So
Right. That's
Right.
sometimes the TARDIS does things for him.
right.
The Doctor, when they went to bed, the Doctor just had a whole entire conversation with himself. This seems like a little much even for the Doctor. Is this just part of his new personality as, number 12? Or is he actually legitimately going crazy?
It was just him being in another bedroom, which we already know he doesn't like.
He doesn't understand why is there a bed?
I'm sure it's a combination of both, though, because we really don't know the long-term side effects on this amount of regenerations on an average person. So there could be some mental problems going on with the Doctor, but maybe not to the extent of some of the other people, because as we saw, he wasn't one of the early targets. So I don't think it's as major as some of these other people that were affected by the mummy. But I definitely think there's something lying there just under the surface.
Yeah, that's right, because the Time Lords put a cap on regens for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's because you just went freaking insane.
Yeah. I mean, the cap that they had to have set is not going to be the threshold of the borderline of insanity, but they're going to give you some leeway. So that's we're probably on the cusp of it right now, and we're not going to really see that story come into play for maybe 2 or 3 more Doctors now, if they choose to go that route.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if the stories are to be believed, Capaldi's going to be on the show for at least 8-10 years, so who knows?
Long fucking time.
Yeah.
We're going back to how long the classic Who Doctors lasted.
Yeah. Which is kind of in a roundabout way a breath of fresh air.
Yeah. Because it's one of those things where it's like, if you look back since 2005 and the series restarted, it was like, I think only 1 year did they not have a Doctor or a companion leave the show.
Yeah.
But
the first time, like, both the Doctor and the companion stayed the same was the Doctor and Amy.
Yeah.
Was 11 and Amy.
Yeah, but what's old is new again, so.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with the Doctor.
Right.
Assuming old faces.
Yeah. So the Professor of Alien Mythology was an interesting character. But the Doctor offered him jelly babies out of a cigarette case. And that was hilarious.
Yes, and did not mention it.
They brought back a bunch of... Huh?
And they didn't mention it. He didn't actually say, the line, would you like a jelly baby?
Yeah.
He just opened up the case and just you want one?
I was like, that's a jelly baby!
So which Doctor... Because the reference is clearly lost on me.
That's...
4. It was Tom Baker's.
Yeah, that was Tom Baker.
Gotcha.
Most of the older Doctors, you tend to know by their names, not their numbers.
Right.
Unlike the newer Doctors, you know by their numbers, not their names. It's kind of weird.
I don't know. I don't know which number Capaldi is. I just know him as Capaldi.
Yeah.
Well, he's 12. I keep accidentally calling him 13. I'm getting ahead of myself.
Is it because the War Doctor threw everybody off? Is that what it was?
I think that's what my brain is doing.
Yeah.
But yeah, the War Doctor has officially been given no number. So.
Well, he's my first Doctor, so in my eyes, he's number 1.
Aww.
From what I've seen with people, and this isn't the official numbering, it's just the way I've seen people call it. The War Doctor is still 8.5. It's still 8.5. But since it was such a big deal about Capaldi being the 13th regeneration, that people are just calling him the 13th Doctor, and they're like, is no 12th Doctor.
Interesting.
So he might be, over time as the series, as the series of the season goes on, it might change back to the 12th Doctor, but most people I've seen call him 13 for whatever reason.
Interesting. So now I'm definitely confused and don't know what number to call him, so I'm just going to stop.
Purple.
Call him Capaldi. That's what I do.
Number
Capaldi.
purple.
Yeah. So the woman whose grandmother died feels very responsible, and she is for her grandmother's death. And she has like a moment with Clara where it's sort of like mirrors Clara and the Doctor, and I'm just sick of them shoehorning in mirrors for Clara. It's like, do you think this was forced, or do you think this worked?
I mean, I didn't notice it nearly as much, but like I don't know Clara as well as you guys do, so.
Well, I mean, you started watching with the War
50th,
Doctor.
yeah, 50th anniversary.
We only had a couple more episodes further than you did.
Hmm.
Like 6, I guess.
To me, though, it seems more so that what is almost forced here is instead of the mirrors, it seems like the search for the new companion is what's being forced. Because we saw, what was it, Courtney? Was that her name?
Yeah.
From the other one, like he toyed around with her, and then it looked like this one he tried to get the engineer to be his companion.
Oh, hell, I would have loved if he stayed.
Yeah, like, he was pretty awesome.
This is what the Doctor does, though. When he loses a companion, he gets really depressed and really sad and mopey until he finally finds somebody, and they stick around. Mm-hmm. Now he knows that Clara wants to leave, so he's just starting the search early so that he doesn't have, so you can have that rebound and not have the, sad, depressed Doctor.
Why can't he just go back in time and pick Clara up before all of this happened and just start over again?
Well, because Clara's now a time traveler too. So her timeline is in flux just like the Doctor's. So he can't really do that. That can't really work, I don't think.
Creating all sorts of paradoxes.
Yeah, something.
It could work as far as the logistics of it in the universe. It just wouldn't work to the story and the plot.
Right.
Well, but it would also change things. So if he went back to Clara's past before Clara met him, then that changes who Clara is when he meets her for the first time.
Right. Just like he did to Pink.
Well, what about taking her just before she met Pink?
Well, then he runs the risk of running into himself.
Oh, okay.
Or double-crossing events.
Mm.
Yeah.
Because if he picks her up from that day, like, what was it, second or third episode or whatever, before Pink started there at the school,
yeah,
and grabs her there, then drops her back in that timeline so that she can continue on the Pink trail, so to speak.
Mm.
She would have all this prior knowledge of the stuff that happens, and it wouldn't really work too well.
Yeah, I could see that.
It's one of those
wobbly timey-wimey.
Yeah, it's one of those wibbly wobbly timey-wimey things.
You're getting it, Dom. That's the explanation for things you just can't wrap your head around. That's what you say.
I just need a fez now, and I'm good.
So the engineer, the professor, and the Doctor. I really like that team.
Where's the butcher and the baker and the candlestick maker?
Yeah, we need a couple more job titles to add.
This is a British show. Where?
Yeah.
I thought they worked really well together. I kind of wish the professor didn't get picked off like that.
Yeah, that was, I don't know, the professor and the conductor, the captain, whatever he calls himself.
Mm-hmm.
All of them, it's like, I guess they were important enough for the story to be killed, while not important enough to the series to be missed.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
I would have loved for the engineer to stick around, like we were just talking about. Like, the engineer is probably my favorite character from this entire season thus far.
So why do you think he said no?
I would have to guess he just knows that it would change his life, and he's really kind of comfortable with the life he has.
Yeah.
I think as an engineer, he did say that he took a peek under the hood, so to speak. And he said he's not going to pretend, but he doesn't understand everything that's going on. And I think that is what worries him, is he seems like a very systematic kind of person that needs to understand everything. And the fact that he can't, it's not the intrigue of how does this work to him. He wants to feel comfortable in his environment. I think that would offset him quite a bit.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah. I was thinking, whoop, there goes my pen. I was thinking that it was more like, which I think you're right, Dom. But he also saw how, like, callous the Doctor is. Because even the captain said, "Do you have no bedside manner at all?"
Right.
Like, he's just Capaldi's Doctor has just no. Not that he has no empathy, but no bedside manner. He has no tact.
Well, they had said in one of the interviews or whatever that they're trying. It's one of those weird British things where they're trying to bridge Capaldi fans of all his other shows over to also to enjoy Capaldi the Doctor. And so it's like they said they're not going to make him like that one asshole he played on British TV, like I don't know how they described him because I never saw the show, but it's like they're trying to merge that character and Matt Smith's Doctor into this new Capaldi Doctor. And over time, that's going to go away, and he's just going to be himself.
Okay.
But for right now, they've got that, no tact, no, fully point-on driven Doctor.
To be honest, though, I like it because I'm a very blunt person myself, and I just say it how it is. I don't care.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say everybody, but for the most part, I don't care about people's feelings when it comes to that stuff. If it's something that they need to hear, and they're gonna get upset anyway, I don't trying to create a scenario where they're gonna feel a little bit better about it, as opposed to just still, just get it out there and deal with it after.
Yeah.
No, and I get that, but the Doctor takes it to another level with, you're gonna die, but we can save the next person. It's like, that person doesn't want to hear that. To get the information you need, you probably need to present it in a way where it doesn't sound like he's just doomed.
I like how they described that with the girl. It's like, do you really think I'm that compassionate? He was like, look, I thought she was a goner. I don't want her to die. I wasn't wishing death on her, but I needed her to make that appearance so that I can get the information so that I can save the next person. It just so happened that I saved her instead. That's when I got it.
Now, what prevents something in this situation like, all right, the Doctor has now figured out how to defeat the Mummy. What prevents him from getting in the TARDIS, going back to when he first got on the train, and, like, intervening when he knows that he's not there? Like, what was it, the first person, the old lady who died, going back to that point before he even got there, and doing the same thing, but now saving the entire train. Instead of those four people that died.
It creates a time paradox. Which
because
TARDIS really doesn't like.
Yeah, and it's because even if he goes before, like right before he got on the train, those events are in his timeline now. So changing something that happens before then changes what happens when he gets there. So.
Yeah, it's one. That's one of those things that they really can't break, because when they have broken before, it like really almost destroyed the TARDIS. If you go back and watch some of the episodes between Tennant and the Master, they actually converted the TARDIS over to a paradox machine.
Oh,
where it ran, it ate off those paradoxes because of the timelines, and they had crossed over so much, and they had brought so much from the future back into this past timeline, and all that the TARDIS was basically just cannibalized itself.
That seems like a season that I would really enjoy.
Yeah, that's
you would like the Master.
Yeah,
you really would.
Yeah, if you like the way Capaldi is now, you'd really like how the Master was, because it's pretty similar.
Maybe this summer I'll have time to go back and catch up on it.
Yeah. Yeah. So, the Doctor made the "Are you my mummy" joke again.
I saw that on Twitter, or somebody had mentioned that. I was like, really? How'd they slip that one in? And then while I was watching it, just kind of like, he just like, oh, are you my mummy?
My mummy.
And it was like he was saying it to the mummy. So it was like,
is this the second or the third time after that first episode
that he's messed kids? Yeah, I don't know. which is
I am
funny.
all for terrible puns.
Yes, no, this one was turned into a terrible pun. But for Dom who doesn't know, it was the first season. It was Christopher Eccleston. There was a little boy with a gas mask during World War II that was just walking around asking where his mummy was.
Yeah.
Are you my mummy? Just over
Are
and
you
over.
my mummy?
You my mummy. And Tennant, when in one of his seasons, puts a gas mask on and makes that joke, and he's done it again.
Nice. I love when they go back and do things like that.
Yeah.
They're making a lot more self-referential jokes.
Yeah, there's two in this one episode.
Yeah.
Now that they've been around for this is the 8th year, they don't have to go back to Classic Who anymore. They're just referring to their own jokes now.
Right, which is awesome. I love when a show can do that with itself. That's one of the main reasons why I love Supernatural so much.
Yeah.
And this is actually, and it's puns, but it's not out of place.
Right.
No.
I mean, he literally took possession of a mummy and said, "Are you my mummy?"
Right.
Which was not what the original saying was.
Yeah.
It was a kid asking for his mother.
That's why it's so good.
That's why I just kind of, those kind of jokes like that really make it funny.
Yeah. So Gus, I thought was the computer. Was he a computer or was he a guy somewhere talking to them?
Gus, I think, was kind of like Jarvis.
Okay, so he was just a computer on the train.
He was a computer kind of AI version,
See, I thought he was something from somewhere else. I thought he was overseeing the operation from afar.
Well, someone must have been overseeing.
Maybe. I mean,
but Gus might have just been the computer. I have a feeling we're going to find out, and somehow it's tied to Missy.
I forgot all about her. We haven't seen her in, 6 episodes now?
No, we saw her
3.
at the end of which one?
The one with the cop.
Yeah. This caretaker. We saw her at the end of the caretaker.
Oh, I must have missed her.
Yeah, it was just like
it was very end
with the dead cop.
I'm kind of ready to see who she is.
Yeah, or at least a little more than a minute of her on screen.
Do you think we're going to find out by the time the season's over, or do you think this is going to be an arc that they carry over into potentially the Christmas episode or the next season?
If past history is a result, the last episode will be all about her, and then they'll carry it on in the future if they need to.
Because she's giving me a very Silence vibe, where we got a tease of the woman with the eye patch for a while, and then we got a lot of information on her at the mid-season, and then when we came back, there was more. So I have a feeling it's going to be like that, too. Yeah. When the Doctor and Clara got up, they were off the TARDIS, and Clara wakes up. Were they in New York?
No.
America, no?
I don't think so. It wasn't named that, but
okay.
He just said the nearest civilized planet or something like that.
It looked a lot like New.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of the cities are skyscapes or look the same.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you take random cities from the U.S. or whatever, aside from a few building placements here or there, they'll all look the same. Yeah, I mean, you can tell if we know them because we can say, "Oh, that's Houston, that's L.A., that's New York." But if you take somebody that's never seen any of them, they would think they all look roughly the same. So
yeah, that's true. They all have their own archetype, but can I quote the Doctor for a second? Spoilers. I had to look ahead, and the final episode is called Death in Heaven, so it does look like we will be dealing with Missy.
Yeah, it's par for the course of the way they, if they slipped in Bad Wolf in the first season and you saw it everywhere. The last episode was Bad Wolf, where we find out Rose is Bad Wolf.
Right.
So yeah, it's one of those things.
Yeah. Do I have anything else to... Oh, yes. So, did Clara lie to Danny at the end? Was she like, yeah, I'll be home. We're totally done here. Let's go on another adventure.
I 100% think she lied to Danny. I think because just the way she worded it to the doctor, which just make sure you get me home on time and there won't be any issues. It makes it seem like she's going to be keeping this from Danny.
Now shut up and give me some planets.
Well, what I didn't really catch there at the end was when she was like, "Oh, he's totally okay with it."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it like it is? I mean, was that the impression that y'all guys got from that phone call? Because I don't really see that changed anything.
No. Yeah, it wasn't exactly like she said, "I'm gonna go on more adventures." It's like, "Don't worry, we're done here. I'm gonna be home soon."
If it was it like, "Oh well, he's not pitching to fit. Why are you with that man? Why, hurry up and get back here." So that means he's okay with it. I mean, something like that, maybe.
Maybe.
I don't know. I just this is gonna cause a huge problem. But we've already skipped ahead to the future, so we know that they still end up together. So, by that observation, I'm gonna have to say that she ends up choosing Danny over the Doctor. So
well, yes, and I mean
we kind of know that this is her last season anyway. So
yeah, but even in the story, we're being prepared for her exit. Like she's realized that some things with the Doctor are just not cool anymore, but she still wants to go on these adventures with him. She still cares about him, and it's gonna come to the point where she can't keep going on adventures because she's got, she loves Danny. She's gonna want to go home to him.
Yep.
But she can't give up chasing the stars just yet.
Now, my question is the mummy's sarcophagus. What exactly was that?
That was whatever Gus or whoever put them on the train had made to capture the mummy once they figured out how to stop it.
Okay.
But the mummy just disappeared after they beat it. So
I was thinking that maybe that was the computer itself. That was Gus.
It might have been part of Gus. Yeah, you're right. But it was just supposed to be stasis if they stopped the mummy.
Right.
Yeah.
And the mummy itself, what, existed outside of the dimension? Is that what that was their explanation for it?
It was out of phase.
Yeah, so he was like just phased out of the dimension, and whoever the victim was partially phased as well until he sucked their energy.
Yeah, I couldn't understand how that one person could see it, but okay, that makes sense if they were partially phased themselves.
Yeah, the victim was partially phased.
What
so they
caused them to phase, though?
The mummy. He chose a victim and partially phased them in order to steal their energy.
Okay.
Which I think was awesome. It wasn't, and like this is the first one I think since the episode with the Daleks where I actually was intrigued by the villain.
Yeah, the villain was super cool. I liked the whole scroll and everything that was on the wall, the parchment, whatever that was. Mm-hmm. Was that actually part of the mummy's, like the soldier's wrap or whatever? Because it looked like it was broken off on the mummy. So was that what it was? It was the other half of what was ever on him?
It was either part of his uniform or it was his battle standard or something. Yeah. It was important to him. That's part of it, yeah.
Do we know what era this mummy came from? Was this like an Egyptian soldier, or was this?
No, it's an alien. It's like because the professor was saying how it wasn't. He didn't like human myths Earth myths because none of them were true, but alien myths, anything could happen. So it was an alien who that soldier just happened to be mummified, and that scroll was. Wherever that scroll was where he chose his victims. So Gus, or whoever was controlling the whole thing, put it on all of the ships that he was using as experiments to try to find out how to stop the mummy.
I think it's pretty safe to say if the Doctor was not on board, they would not have found a solution to that.
Nope. Right. And the Doctor took him to the last second to actually figure it out.
Yep.
One thing I guess I should have expected, but I didn't, was that, at the very end, when they figured it out, the mummy was gone. Well, all the other trains had died because the mummy killed them all. Mm-hmm. And then he was like, "Oh, well, I can't have any witnesses here, so I'm just going to kill you all too. Bye." Yeah. I was like, I should have seen that coming.
Yeah, the Doctor's just not phased at all. He was like, "All right."
What planet did he drop them off on? Do we know?
No, we don't really know.
No.
If they said it, I didn't catch it.
Is it something that they do normally? Is drop people off somewhere like remote like that, and then never go back and explain it?
Yeah, they take them. Like if he saves a group of people like that, then he takes them to the nearest, basically the nearest city.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I don't know how to explain it, but it's like, okay, here's how you can get back to whatever life you have. Tell people you're at this, place, and have fun.
And they'll come pick you up. Sometimes, if he likes them enough, he'll take them home. But that doesn't often happen, especially with big groups.
Yeah, he doesn't take
big
like
people
groups
very
individually.
much.
Yeah.
No. Especially not this doctor.
And that's true of all the doctors. They just don't. Like, I guess some of the older, like, classic doctors liked humanity, but they still don't like large groups. The doctor's always been about anonymity, not being well known to people. So he doesn't like large groups.
Yeah, but he sucks at that.
Right.
He needs that thing from Men in Black, the little memory flasher. Where he's like,
the doctor has done that several times. Gone back and erased. Yeah.
I also like the fact that the screwdriver this episode malfunctioned or was not usable, and this brought up something you guys were discussing last week on the podcast of how they were trying to phase out the sonic screwdriver slightly.
Yeah, they're trying to give the screwdriver some weaknesses. They're trying to make it not be the silver bullet, MacGuffin of every plot device now.
Mm-hmm.
How do I figure that out? Well, the screwdriver will tell me. Use the screwdriver. It's not working.
Yeah.
Well, how is that possible? They're directly blocking it. I don't know.
Yeah. I think that's a good way to do it without getting rid of the screwdriver, because I like when it does weird things.
Yeah. No, it's definitely... it's interesting. I like it. I like the new spin on it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, episode 9. What's it called? Flatline. Separated from the doctor, Clara discovers a new menace from another dimension, but how do you hide even when the walls have no protection? With people to save, the doctor trapped, Clara comes up against an enemy that exists beyond human perception. Yay, Clara gets to do stuff, also other dimensions! I feel like I was talking about this recently. I wanted them to do dimension shit. Excuse me, dimension shit.
Yeah, it was in the last episode or two that it's been brought up. Probably last one.
Right.
I'm gonna like it. This episode, when I saw the preview for it last week, and I see the mummy walking on the train, I go, oh boy, this is gonna be awful. And then I think, outside of the moon has been my favorite episode this past season. Which I'm sorry, Erica, but it was. Like I know you disliked that episode, but I just like the whole concept of the moon being an egg, and anything else that happened that episode I don't even care about, because that whole just concept
I just didn't like
overshadowed the episode for me. But yeah, this is probably my second favorite episode, and if you take the moon being an egg out of the equation, I think this overall was the best episode for me, at least.
Yeah, I mean, I like you were saying, I went into this not really expecting much. It's like, oh, this is the mummy episode, okay, because it's like they have a filler episode every season. I don't really care, and then it's like I start watching it, and it's like, oh, this is actually pretty decent,
Yep.
Yeah, and like I said, I think this is kind of connected. I think we might see Gus again. And seeing the trailer for this from last week, I looked at it like the Titanic episode. They do that kind of retro in space very well.
I got a Titanic vibe off this thing.
Yeah.
So, but what if Gus has some kind of connection with Missy?
Maybe not, or maybe I don't know. I just think it would be cool to see Gus again.
I would like it.
I think it might be kind of a bit closed, a bit closed if they just link the two together like really quickly and really tightly. It's nice having multiple things out there that you don't know about.
Mm-hmm. Like, or you don't know
Gus
until
like Gus might show up again, completely independent to this Missy timeline, or like the storyline.
2 or 3 seasons from now.
Yeah, and it's like multiple things. They're not all connected and they're not all wrapped up. You just,
Yeah, I mean, I love when things are all connected, but like you said, if everything is too connected, it starts to be a problem.
And they've got to start forced. They've got to start weaving new connections in, new things they can go back to later.
Right.
So.
Yeah. So, anything else to say, guys?
I wish the other two could have been here and talk about the episode.
Pat and Michelle are still off in California. They are enjoying their 2-year anniversary. So happy anniversary, Pat and Michelle. And
we'll see them soon.
And Rachel is pumpkin picking. So
yeah, and just because it hasn't been said to anybody else on the episode, happy Canadian Thanksgiving.
That is okay, because I was confused because Omi was saying something about Thanksgiving, and I'm like, it's what?
Yeah. Thanksgiving. Canadian Thanksgiving is on Columbus Day, and a lot of people here in the U.S. don't call it Columbus Day anymore because of whatever. So I've just taken to calling it Canadian Thanksgiving.
So happy Columbus Day.
It's second chance at turkey. Who cares?
Yeah.
I prefer ham.
Well, whatever your Thanksgiving traditions are, you can do it twice a year now. That's a bonus, isn't it?
So Erica, where can the people find you eating turkey?
On Twitter at EricaRain7.
Dom, where can the people find you?
Eating ham. You can find me down below at Phenomenon, PHENOMEDOM.
And you can find me all over the internet at Cleomoto. And you can find all of us and more at ASO TV Podcast on Facebook, Twitter, Gmail, Google+, and right here on YouTube. So watch our other shows and stuff, and thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
Catch you guys later. Why didn't you like the moon?
I didn't dislike the moon.
You hate the moon.
#SaveTheMoon.
#SaveTheMoon.